Hey folks, Uncle Jesse here. How's everybody doing on a Monday night? It's not that cold tonight, but even though we're gonna be making some onion soup, French onion soup. Okay, so French onion soup is it's cooked and it's put into this little bowls and it's got cheese on top and croutons or French bread and what have you. So I'm gonna show you how to make French onion soup from scratch. And just follow me. So stay tuned because I'm chopping up my onions and I'll show you in just a minute. Okay. So I'm gonna start cutting I cut some of the onion up. I'm using Spanish onion or yellow onions, whatever you want to call them. Let me see if you can see. So what I'm doing, I cut up the onion. I cut up one already, but onions looks like a lot, but it really, when it breaks down, it's right. So I'm gonna cut it like this. Okay, I'm gonna just cut them into wheels, like that. Then I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna cut them in half. Okay. So there you go, like half moon. Okay. So I'm gonna start cooking these in my big pot here. And even though it looks like a lot, it won't. When it breaks down, it's not going to be a lot. So let me show you now. Let me get this piece of onion, this skin here. I hate this skin. There you go. So this is what it looks like, okay? So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to cook this in a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to add some sugar to start to caramelize the onions. And then we're going to add some red wine and then all the beef broth and all that other stuff. Okay, so stay tuned because we're going to start cooking. Okay, so I got my onions in there. I put a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm gonna put this medium, and I'm gonna okay. So I got about 2 tablespoons here of sugar. Okay, and this is just gonna help the onions caramelize. Put that in there. You don't want to make it too sweet, and then to start to break down these onions, okay? Just break them down, and we start cooking this. As soon as the pot gets hot, these things will start cooking. Then I'm gonna break them down. I'm gonna cover it up so it gets moist, and then I'm gonna add the wine when the onions break down. So stay tuned, okay? I'll be right here. Okay, so you can see these onions are sizzling. Let me lower the flame a bit. They're sizzling. Nice and steam coming up. My eyes are tearing. This is horrible. They're the only part of I like onions. I just don't like to cry over onions. I'll cry over something else, but not onions. But anyway, you can smell the house starting to smell like onions. And I don't know if that's a good smell or a bad smell. I know people that smell like onions. Co-workers of mine, not to mention no names. So I'm breaking it. What I'm going to do, like I said, I put the sugar in there to caramelize the onions. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover it up now. I'm going to let the steam. I'm going to let the steam cook the onions. And then we're going to check up on it in a little while. And then we're going to start putting the wine in there. Some red wine. Burn off that wine, the alcohol off that wine. Get the flavoring out. And then we're going to start putting in our beef broth. And in a few, then we'll put out, shortly after that, we'll put everything together to make our onion soup, so stay tuned. So from time to time, make sure that you uncover and move it around. This is cooking real nice, real nice. I like the way it's cooking. It's getting sweating, and this is the way I want. I want these onions really broken down. So we'll keep on checking them, make sure they don't burn, and we'll be good, right? Okay. Well, folks, let's check up our onions. Look at this. Look how this looks. Whoa. Okay. So all that onion broke down, and you can see you can add actually more onions if you want. I did a whole onion and a little bit more, But this should be enough for 2 servings of French onion soup, and maybe a little bit left over. So the onions are nice and caramelized. I tasted actually one. Let's see, I tasted one that was nice and sweet. A piece of onion. Sweet onion. So, we're going to continue cooking this for another 5 minutes or so. And then I'm going to start adding the wine. And then let the wine cook in there. Let the alcohol burn off. The flavor that stays behind then gets mixed in with the beef broth. And then we should be getting this stuff together in a few. Okay, so my onions just about done. You can see. Okay. Now I'm gonna add the wine. I have about 1¼ cup of wine here. I'm just gonna start off with putting we'll put half of that, okay? Just to cover the bottom up a little bit. Okay, we're gonna raise the flame on this because we want the heat to boil away the alcohol. As you can see it here bubbling a bit, and that's good. That's a good sign because now the wine is gonna cook up. The alcohol is gonna burn off, evaporate, and then whatever's left is the flavor. Okay, so yeah. So I put in let me see. I put in about less than a cup. I would put in about 3/4, I guess. I put in there. I think that's enough. You can see it right now bubbling, and yeah, there goes. You can smell the wine. The alcohol is eventually going to burn off, and then we should be good. So let me cover this up, let that alcohol burn in there, cook in there, get the flavors, and then we're gonna put in the beef broth. So folks, this is smelling right nice. You see that steam, the alcohol is burning off because you want to burn the alcohol off and just leave what's left, right? So it's smelling good. It has a nice steam coming out of the pot. And in a second, I'm going to show you. You're going to join me when I uncover this and see how those onions are doing. And then we're going to start cooking the soup. Okay, are you guys ready? Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. So look at that. Okay, so you can see that all the alcohol has burnt out, and the wine has soaked into the onions, and so the alcohol is mostly gone. Now I'm gonna put in my beef broth. Okay, so I'm gonna put in two cups first, and then I'm gonna put another 2 cups because I want to measure this to let you know how much I'm using. Okay, so I just put in 4 cups. Okay. And just in case we're missing, we're gonna put in 2 more cups. So those 4 cups, and let's do 2 more cups. So I just put in 2. I put in 2 and 2, that's 4, and 2 more is 6. 6. You know what? We're gonna do the whole thing. The hell with it. So I got 8 cups of broth. Okay, 8 cups of broth, which means actually 2 of these things. Okay, you gotta get some nice broth. This is made by Progresso. I use this all the time, and it's pretty good. So I use 2 boxes of these. Okay, so each box is 32 ounces. So I use 2 of these to make a good pot. So you have enough of the soup. Okay, now you see that it just stopped. So now I'm gonna raise up the flame, and I'm going to start cook this. Okay, get the flavors in there. And just cover this up, and we'll let that cook in there. So folks, so I cover this up after I put the broth in there, and I'm gonna bring the broth. I'm gonna bring everything back to a boil. I want to boil, get those flavors out of there. I put a little bit of pinch of garlic powder. I put a pinch of thyme in there, and now I'm gonna let all those flavors come together and boil. I got, like I said, I've used 2 boxes of beef broth. And this should be good. We should have enough soup for, for seconds or whatever, what have you. So come back because pretty soon this is gonna be done, okay? And I want you guys to be with me because I'm gonna show you how to put this together. I'm gonna be using, I'm gonna be putting these things into these bowls, and today I don't have any bread, so I'm gonna be using some croutons. I'm gonna be using Gruyere cheese. I'm gonna put Gruyere cheese on top. I'm gonna put the croutons, and then I'm gonna put a slice of cheese on top, and let that all melt in the oven. So you're gonna see how that works. Okay. So actually, today's the first time I usually get Italian bread or French bread and top it. But today oops, what is this? I'm not drunk. It must be the wine. I tripped on something. So anyway, for the first time, I'm gonna be using some croutons, and people, you do it with croutons. But I like using the bread. But for the first time today, I'm going to be doing it with croutons. And I have some garlic butter croutons I'm going to be using. And that should give the soup more flavor as it is. But the soup is almost done. So as soon as this boils, I'm going to let it boil for a bit. And then we're going to start putting it together. So wish me luck. Because I'm using croutons for the first time. I don't know. So anyway, we'll be right back. So folks, I brought my soup to a boil. And now the flavors are really coming together. and I'm going to start putting my French onion soup. So I'm going to show you how it's done. Let me preheat my oven to a broil. I'm going to put the soup into these bowls. I'm going to put some croutons on top. I'm going to put cheese on top, and then some more croutons, and then I'm going to put it in the broiler. Okay, this is going to be, I'm going to finish it off in the broiler so that the cheese melts over the croutons, and then we're going to go eat it. So stay tuned. It's almost done. So I'm gonna start cooking I'm gonna start putting this stuff together. So watch me. Okay, there we go. So let's get there you go. So we're gonna scoop some of this up. There we go. Get some of the onions in there. Give it flavor. Oh man, look at this. It's nice dark broth. Looks delicious. Ooh, it's getting hot. Okay. Okay. There we go. So I'm gonna put that to the side. Let me get another one here. Okay, so you watching me do this? Watch. Okay, so I got the soup in the bowl now. I'm gonna be using some Texas toast croutons. They're nice and crunchy. You need something that's nice and toasty so it won't sink in the soup. Right? So, like I said, this is the first time using croutons on my. What I want to do is I'm gonna put a slice of cheese there, just floating like that, and then we're gonna put these croutons on top. Okay, and then we gotta put the cheese on top, and hopefully it won't sink. We're gonna get this toasted nice and toasty, and we're gonna put the cheese like this, and we're gonna cover this up, and we're gonna put that in the oven. Okay, so again, we're gonna lay out the croutons. Okay, and it should take a little while for the croutons to start to sink. So you gotta work fast on this. You gotta put the cheese on top. Just like that. And then you can see with the heat alone the cheese is starting to melt. But we're gonna try to cover as much as possible. And like I said, I usually use bread for this, but I didn't have any bread today, or the stupid supermarket mines didn't have any bread. So we're gonna try this out. So I'm gonna put this in the broiler on the bottom of the stove, and then we come back and see how it looks. So folks, you gotta keep an eye on it. When you put it in the broiler is cooking from the top down. So you gotta make sure that you don't burn the soup and the cheese and all that stuff. So keep an eye on it. If you put it, I put it in the bottom of my stove, and it's got the broiler, in the bottom of the oven. So let me go check it. I'll be right back. So folks, I just took it out of the oven. It looks good. It looks different than when I used the bread, but it's all the flavors are in there. So let me just show you. That's what it looks like right now. I don't know if you can see that, but you're gonna see it soon at the table, okay? So let me put this extremely hot, and let me put this on the plate, and we're gonna go to the table. So folks, this is extremely hot. It looks a little bit different from this. I'm used to putting the bread on top and everything, but hey, this is something different. And I found this recipe, well actually the croton recipe yesterday in the show that I saw, but I usually use the French bread or Italian bread on top. You know what, you've seen it before, hopefully. But anyway, this looks good. And it's a different version, so let's go and show you. So there we go, look at that. So the cheese is semi-melted in there. The croutons are a little toasty, if not burnt, but it's, there he goes, look at that cheese in there. And when you break that up with the spoon, it's gonna be all nice and gooey. Oh my God, I can't wait to show you. Yep, so I'm gonna show you in just a minute, so come right back. It looks like this. The table looks good. Look at that. Okay. So I'll be right back.
Defoe, NBC Tonight.
In the nation's largest city, the vicious